Getting to the money, I be getting to the back. People think I'm funny cause I always make them laugh. I ain't even being funny, I be really spitting facts. I'm about balance and I got talents. Every challenge I overcome. Low-key is savage, never be average. Give me a task and I'll get it done. Minding my business whenever I come in. I'm handling business while I'm having fun. I ain't worried about winning, but that would be dumb cause there's no competition. I already won, huh? Yeah.
Peace, 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 family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Astrologiks, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I am going to be talking about a lot. Um, I wanted to discuss the Venus and Gemini transit, but there's so many other things going on here. I tried to make it as short as possible. I'm not gonna lie, I might try to speed through this, so you might have to watch it a few times or take some notes. I do think this stuff is important. This is kind of giving us a glimpse of what we can expect more of next year because Uranus is moving into Gemini tomorrow, and it's going to move back into Taurus at the end of the year. And I believe it's happening with Saturn and Neptune as well. So Saturn and Neptune are currently in Pisces, Aries, and they're going to move back into Pisces for a little bit. And then they're going to come back next year. So pretty much anything that happened, let's say March of this year, all the way up until now and till about November, you can expect to see them being, it's going to feel like deja vu next year when they officially move back into their prospective signs that they'll be in for the next, however many years for each of those planets. And that's a big deal. But nonetheless, Venus entered Gemini on July 4th. It'll be there until July 29th. The signs that will feel this the most are Taurus, Libra, and Gemini. Really, all the mutable signs, to be honest, will be feeling this the most. But Taurus and Libra, because they're ruled by Venus, and the mutable signs are Gemini, Sag, Pisces, and Virgo. But everybody has Gemini somewhere in their chart. You want to make sure you know where that is so you can know where these changes are taking place. Another reason why this transit is super important is because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, making Mercury the most important planet from now until about the beginning of August, first week of August. And that's because Mercury is the ruler of the South Node. Mars is in Virgo, and that energy is squaring Gemini energy. Mars, Virgo squares Gemini. And so that is kind of speaking about the disruptions, I think, to the work and the workforce and any kind of healthcare, to be honest, on the world stage. But also it can be quite argumentative. Virgo hits below the belt, it kind of says things that really hurt, but on purpose though. It's not like it's not like below the belt stuff. I'm trying to think of below the belt stuff. I don't even know. Like, this is like when two couples have like really nasty divorces, or they're arguing and one person says something like, That's why I had to wash the shit out of your drawers, shit that's just like, that was really unnecessary. You could tell it was intentional, like it was meant to, be hurtful. Um, and things of that nature can come up with this. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then obviously Uranus is moving into Gemini. And Mercury will be going retrograde in the sign of Leo until on July 17th until August 11th. And so Venus wants to have fun, and Mars is very critical, like saying, but we got work to do. It can be very nitpicky, and there can be like financial and relational misalignment that we're cutting ties from, or we're cutting ties of the patterns. It doesn't always have to be a breakup. It just means that something is still stagnant, stuck. It's not working. It's not supporting the structure or the system you're trying to build, and it needs to be changed in some way. And so we're kind of releasing, letting go, detoxing, and realigning what is not working. So kind of bringing ourselves back to health in some way, filling ourselves back up in some way. Nutritions, eating healthy, filling up your vitamins, filling up yourself with vitamins, nutrients, and things of that nature. Working out, obviously, drinking lots of water, really, really taking care of your health here. You're building yourself back up. This is like somebody being sick for like a week, and then you have to get like reacclimated with your regular, everyday, normal, energetic self, right? And so this is a really good time. I think this Mercury retrograde is a really good time to do that, to really do a lot of self-care, um, rest and relaxation, and a lot of reflection on the things that you said, the things that you're critical about, um, why you're critical, your health, you know, whatever it is in your life that's not working. This could be, a new job, whether you want a job, do you care to have a job, financial matters in general. Whatever your Virgo area of life is kind of getting stirred up here, it's a really good time to sit back and be like, okay, why are these things happening? What are these challenges? And how can I do them better? And really, really taking your time to be honest about what those things are, reflect on them, and then start making small, significant changes. Don't make any final decisions. And with the Mercury retrograde, Mercury retrogrades, my favorite term for retrogrades is their trial periods. They give you an opportunity to try something on for size, see if it fits, and then if you like it, you keep it. And if you don't, then obviously you get rid of it, but you don't make a decision until you've tried on all different types of things, gone through a bunch of different scenarios, and then around, again, August, first week of August, maybe even the second week. What did I say? What was those dates for the retrograde? I just want to I think it's the last week. Oh no, yeah. The second week of August, things will start to become a little bit more clear on what you're kind of changing and working through. And even later in the month, you'll have more opportunities to try and heal, apologize, and accepting that, things happen in life. Nobody's perfect. We're all changing and evolving on different levels for different reasons. And Um, you know, that's just what it is. So, Venus rules love, money, beauty, art, relationships, and social harmony. It's our values and what makes us feel good. So pleasure, our pleasure and desires, we're definitely going to be indulging more in all of whatever those are. Fashion, whatever kind of talents you might have, different looks. Obviously dating is going to be a huge one. Exes coming in. And I just want to say that this is very critical because it is connected to the North and South Node. So these are very fated times. And because Gemini, Leo, Aquarius, and Aries are all positive transits, these are all sextiles and trines. These are exes that are coming back that you liked. They meant something to you. They're going to trigger some kind of responses, thoughts, past, things that you forgot all about that. You're like, yo, I don't even do that no more. Like, whatever happened to that? They are going to bring up your childhood excitements, um, things that you might have just stuffed deep, deep down in your gut because of some misalignment or unhappiness or, growing up, right? Being an adult. That's gonna make you be like, oh shoot, maybe I should try to incorporate that again. Or you're meant to have that experience with this particular ex that's coming in your life again for a particular reason. Again, I wouldn't bank on anybody from the past coming back during a retrograde that they'll stay, that they'll meant to stay, even with these kinds of energies, Aquarius, Gemini, Leo, Aries, they're all very young. And, unfortunately, the cold hard truth is they're here for a good time and not a long time, really, really reminiscing, and just really missing you, and that's why they're reaching out, but that's it. And so I think another thing, a lesson that this particular retrograde is teaching us is our dating patterns. I'd even take us a step further and say that what we are being asked to reevaluate are our dating patterns and how we do that, why we do it the way we do it. Are we doing it the right way, the wrong way? What is the right way or the wrong way? All the questions that need to be asked in order to figure out, you know, where we're at with that process. And it's going to be like super, super in your face because Uranus and uh, Venus brings in support. So Venus is supporting the Gemini themes. And because of the trines and sextiles, they're all on the same page. They all agree with one another right about now. Like, yeah, yeah, that's right. Just encouraging the fucking shenanigans and it's all a part of the process. And it's faded with the North Node and stuff there. So um I think it's important to also consider another way to look at this particular retrograde is what are you lacking in your relationships? This could be that you need to bring some kind of childhood life, child, childlike uh, experiences back into your relationships, like doing fun things together, holding hands. Like, think of what dating looked like for younger ages, right? Because again, we're talking about Aquarius, which is teenagers, Gemini, which can be considered preteens, and Aries, which is the baby. Like, what innocence comes with that kind of dating and the experimenting and, you know, trying things that you've never ever done before or for the first time. Things that you haven't done in a really long time or for the first time. Uh, so this is about releasing your inhibitions. When think just try to put yourself in a space of being young again, what it was like dating, and how to implement that in your dating life. It's about that can be very dangerous. I just, want to say that, and be very, conscious, aware um, of doing that and what you're asking for. I do like the fact that we have support from Saturn and Aries, which is taking accountability, for whatever we choose to do and however we choose to do it, which brings up another really good point, that I think makes this particular retrograde different than most others is it's a great negotiator here because these signs want freedom. They don't do relationships the way most traditionally, which is not a bad thing depending on who you are and how you feel about relationships. The truth is, these younger particular signs want relationships, but they don't want none of the responsibilities that come with being in a relationship. What does that look like? Um, Booty calls. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. This is somebody who might perhaps date for the purpose of they don't need anything else. You don't provide anything else for them. They can do everything else on their own, but they need sex. Um, this could be somebody who dates 6 or 7 other women because all these 6 or 7, 8 other women have traits that one or the other don't have. And with these 6 or 7 women, I get all my needs met. Some people are going to be like, this is not a good thing. This is crazy. Whatever, to each his own. This is what we're dealing with here, the hardcore truth. Um, these might be people who don't live in the same house, but they're still dating, or one person lives across the country, but they're still dating, or you travel to see each other every now and again, but you're dating. And who knows? That could mean that perhaps uh during the time that you're together for, I don't know, say it's like 3 months out of the year, you're together. That's it. That's your relationship. Outside of those 3 months, we don't, that's do what you want to do. I'm trying to think of all the different ways that this can show up. I'm pretty sure you guys are starting to get the picture here, but these are very unconventional relationships. And there are a lot of people out here who do those types of things. And perhaps this particular Mercury retrograde is saying, are those relevant to my particular dating wants and needs? Is it helpful for me to incorporate some of these things in? And um, is it going to be helpful? Is it going to help my relationship? I can say about 10,000 more different ones, but I don't want to be on here all day. But I do think that the one thing to remember is nothing is forever, nothing's guaranteed, and we're only owed to each other what the two of us discuss, right? And that's what we are really addressing here. How do you want this to go? Be open and honest about that. Stand on your principles, your values, and you win some, you lose some. See who takes the bait. I'm so sorry. That sounds so bad, but I do think that because of the way of the world is going and how things are going to be changing, I just don't think that money's going to be like how we used to think about money. Um, a lot of people can be forced to be downgrading, and or there are just going to be so many upheavals and life changes and at warp speeds that you will agree to something in the moment just to get by. And of course, that's not going to be everybody's story. Some people, it's going to just be a regular thing where they are going through something, emotionally, transitionally. That's another way to look at this particular Mercury retrograde is we're going through a transition. We're going from being preteens, teenagers. And Saturn is saying, and all that, you got to grow up. You got to commit to something. You got to build some kind of structure or system. You got to tap into your talents. You got to sell yourself. You got to build your talents, um, and mold that, and then combine it to the people in your life that are surrounding you that are going to help you during this journey, right? What does that look like for everybody here? Whew, shit. Uh, yeah, that I mean, we'll have a great fucking summer. Summer is gonna be amazing. Uh, but don't forget to reflect, gather information, have experiences responsibly, make the decisions with the information and experiences that you have for your new found whatever, right? Um, so this Venus can also crave intellectual connections. It's a variety and having fun. This is like sending flirty text messages and spontaneous dates and brainstorming when it comes to creative projects and finances. It's adaptable, it can be scattered, it can chase multiple interests at once, and it's very chatty and has a lot of playful ideas. Role playing comes up here too. This is making the bedroom a lot more steamier and exciting. Um, this will have us craving mental stimulation in one-to-one relationships and very creative. I think creativity and people's talents and gifts are probably going to be one of the more even highlighted things because of Uranus. Uranus is not so much a personal planet as it is as Venus is. and I'll talk a little bit about that, but um we can be making changes to websites, LinkedIn, really anything connected to social media, dating apps. We're going to be a lot more flexible, open-minded. Those are actually keys to get through this. I would say lean into Saturn and stay grounded, but unfortunately, Saturn's going retrograde at the end of this week, and I don't feel like we have enough support for this shit. I think everybody's gonna be on cloud nine. It's like let's get white girl wasted. I just want to forget the pain or, the responsibilities. Like I just want to be left alone, but I want to be numb while I'm doing it. Really bad drug addictions can come up. Pluto, Aquarius, and Saturn, these are some heavy ass fucking drugs. You know, we can pick up some really bad habits. And just be mindful. Be mindful of your choices and the things you do, but pay attention to what you're being drawn to, and ask the important questions. Um, you know, um, yeah. So yeah, being flexible and open-minded is going to be key here, but especially when it comes to how you approach pleasure. This is going to be a lot of talk about freedom, a lot of talk about freedom and how I want my freedom and I want my own space and I don't really want to be told what to do. Gemini, Uranus and Gemini is like, please don't tell me what to do and don't tell me what to think either. Don't tell me what to say either. you know? Um, ugh, yeah. So Mercury and Leo will sextile Venus, which can be great for, again, content creators, educators, road trips. Um, it could be talks about having children or having a baby, or just the education of your children and planning and researching and thinking about what and how, the education you're planning for your children. If you have teenage or young adult children, they can be having these kinds of conversations with their children, and these are things that are coming up for them. Um, or they're becoming super creative, or you can start to begin to understand your children more. If you're somebody who's been having trouble understanding your children or just sitting down long enough to actually fucking listen, um, use the Mercury retrograde for that. Um, there can be a lot of miscommunication when it comes to money and rethinking financial plans. Again, exes coming back is going to be like the biggest theme. Um, Misunderstandings and relationships. Again, this is a great energy to negotiate contracts and agreements and how things are going to be run from this point forward. Um, if you're going to be honest, although I wouldn't promise or guarantee anything, but the fact that you'll do your best because it's a retrograde. Nothing really sticks during retrogrades. So you always are going to have to come back. Remember, retrograde. So from the 17th, well, actually from the 31st, is that the 31st or the 30th of June, all the way up until the 17th, retrograde stuff is happening. From the 17th all the way until the 29th, you're going back over all of that stuff. It's going to stop and it's going to go back to the energy of the last day of June. And then when it goes retrograde, it'll be back at the point of the 17th and it'll reacclimate until about a week or two after whatever that is. And then the energy finally clears. So it's like 3, 4 times you're having the same fucking conversation over and over and over and over and over again, which can seem really freaking annoying, but it's a necessary process, right? Because shit happens, life is happening, things are changing. This is fated. This is a big deal, right? These choices and decisions that we're making right now at this particular time in our life are going to affect the rest of our life. Like all of them do, but because there's so much big planetary changes happening, this is pretty significant, right? And so again, it's a great time to really reflect on your relationship patterns and what you want. And you'll have support on thinking those things through. We could be adding more discipline to our relationship patterns and the things that we want, our dreams and talents and skills that we're building. Um, this is really great for writing projects, applications. I feel like I kind of talked about all this websites, blogs, podcasts. We're reimagining our thoughts and communication. Remember, same thing with every retrograde. Be careful for your text messages you're sending them. Make sure you're sending them to the right people. Um, you know, expect delays and things with technology. You might even be reading old text messages, rewriting text messages, reviewing um, relationships, um, old conversations you've had with exes, and just trying to gain more clarity. Um, so that you can resolve things, you know, and not have any misunderstandings. Okay. And so Uranus is like a breath of fresh air, especially if you've been feeling stuck, feeling blocked or resisted, because it's been in Taurus, and Taurus is a fixed sign. Taurus doesn't like change; it wants things to stay the same, and so we could have experienced a lot of lack of wanting to change or just feeling stuck in your Taurus area of life, but it's also ruled by Venus. And so pretty much the same themes here besides their more Taurian themes. Um, but we've been feeling really blocked around a lot of these. This is your self-worth, your values, your self-esteem, um, your money, your budget, your finances, getting straight on all those things, and really building some structure around that. Even your eating habits, being more healthy, making sure you're taking the right vitamins and minerals and things of that nature. Um, Even a lack of pleasure and desire, really not wanting to be, not motivated to uh, be in a relationship or, care about relationship patterns, probably the last damn thing on your mind. But, um, or again, it was just harder. It was more monotonous. It was more like, well, we got to work, we need the money type thing. Um, and um, Now that, Uranus is moving into Gemini, there may have been like a big breakthrough or surprises or shocks. Uranus zigs and zags. It's like this, like a bobblehead. It's always, it's very unstable, you know? And so it brings change, rebellion, innovation, upheaval, freedom, revolution. And it brings these things in very shocking and surprising ways. It's cosmic knowledge, and universal intelligence. We're really tapped into a deeper knowing here. You're going to feel unrooted and ungrounded and shaken up. Something definitely knocked you off your square. And you was like, oh shit, I did not see that coming type of energy. You know, it's going to change what you think, what you say, and what you're interested in. And it's lots of disruptions and changes around Gemini themes. So that's technology, communities, transportation, travel. It's going to free our minds in some way. Uh, so we can see like a bunch of wild comments and communication online for sure. People saying some pretty off the fucking real shit, or just suddenly cutting all their hair off, or they got some wild ass color in their hair, or major changes to their look or something like that. Uranus disrupts the status quo and the nervous system. It delivers breakthroughs when it comes to future ideas. It's the sky god, which can represent how we connect online and in person. It's a trendsetter. It's going to change the way influencers operate on online, which I am very interested in seeing how that happens. These are aha moments, epiphanies. It could be like an existential crisis. I try to say it again, existential crisis. I've talked about this before. I did a lot of group work when I was going to Leslie, and the way that those classes were designed was to have us actually be in groups. So we were the clients, even though we were the students, if that makes sense. Like we were using ourselves as examples, so to speak. And when you put yourself through something like that, what it does is it activates change within you going through that process. Like you might be pretending because you're in class and you have to do, a experiment or work, something required for you for that class. You're doing it in person in real time, and it is really changing you to the point where, I mean, those classes that I took were some of the most life-changing awakening experiences I've ever had in my whole entire life, to the point where like I would literally do it again. Like I loved going to school because it was so hands-on, it was so real. And we got real deep in a lot of those classes about some of the things that we were experiencing through those group experiments or exercises. And whew, it's like I don't know how else to describe it except it's electric. Like you start to feel alive for the first time in a really long time, whereas you might have felt stuck or didn't know something, or it just gives you like a different way to look at something, you know? Um, you can solve, this is kind of reminds me of the saying, you can't solve old problems. No, you can't solve problems with the old mind, the same mind that got you into that situation. You have to get some kind of outside experience or um, something. And Uranus brings that into the equation. You know, Uranus is that outside equation. You get this aha moment, epiphany, like you just wake up one day like, oh, and it's not like it just happens out of the blue. Trust and believe that these are things that have been happening over time. You know, it's not just a sudden awareness, it's something that's been brewing, but maybe you didn't have the strength, or you didn't have clear signs, or you just needed more proof, right? Uranus is the cord cutter to any kind of attachments. And then it liberates you. It's quantum leaps, you know, jumping high, skyscrapers. You know, you might not really be able to stand what's not real or authentic to you or a part of your path anymore. You can't live a lie. It changes your vibration on a soul level, you know. Um, I think we'll see things around neurodivergent or autism, free internet, engineers, people who want freedom, scientists. A lot of those themes are going to be mixed and mingled with a lot of this energy. Gemini is one of the fastest moving signs, and it's mutable, meaning it's flexible, you know? And so we can see a lot of really fast changes around communication, apps, cell phones, texts, emails, learning, technology, travel, neighborhoods. Could you imagine having like a all technological neighborhood? Like the whole, like the houses are built up to some major technological stuff, and I wouldn't even, I don't know if I want to know what that looks like. But, you know, it could be something that happens, or you have free internet, but it's tracking you somehow, you know, or it could be like those you know, no more phones, but like small pieces where all you have to do is touch it. Like we've seen those in movies, right? No more handheld phones, right? Because Gemini rules the hands and gadgets. And so they could be condensing what phones look like to just having something here, or, you know, something here. I don't fucking know. It could be hand parts, you know, like technology for replacing body parts. I don't know. This could get real fucking crazy, is all I'm saying. But interesting. This could be studying esoteric things, astrology, spiritual law, cosmic wisdom, ancient knowledge. We can feel like we're plugged into an electrical socket. It can be hard to sleep. Um, we can feel like electricity is flowing through our veins, and you can feel very telepathic or like electromagnetic. Um, like you're coming online. Like this could be a shutdown and then a reboot. You know, it might be difficult to be around people and environments. I said that already. Um, I think, did I say that already? We can kind of be annoyed by people who aren't on a vibrational match. Even listening to people because it's not on the same frequency could be really hard. People might not really be able to understand you, or vice versa. You know, you can't understand other people. We can become more busy socially, do a lot more listening with reflecting. This could be like electrical currents and technology databases, the grid, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, power grids, power supplies, crazy weather. Did you hear what happened in Las Vegas? Was that Las Vegas? That shit was crazy. Inconsistencies in connections, like outages, as well as upgrades. It's not going to be all bad. Um, hmm. And then it'll trine Pluto in Aquarius, which just really wants us to deepen our connections and having major breakthroughs through communication or some kind of intimacy or intimate conversations that bring a breakthrough in how you love yourself and others, you know. Um, you could be breaking through on why it's hard for you to be intimate or love others. Um, and you again, it's like you're coming online now and you're learning like, okay, you know, you're now having some very big understandings about what you need. New empowered communication, wild ideas, exciting new people, interesting people, authentic conversations and relationships. And then it's going to sextile Neptune and Saturn and Aries, which is strength and clarity. Remember, if I did I talk about this? I can't remember. I have two pages now, and I'm mixing up the conversations that I'm having on both my channels. This is absolutely insane. But whenever Neptune goes retrograde, it's actually makes things clearer. So typically Neptune is like fog, cloud, rose-colored glasses, not seeing things clearly, you know, choosing to be blind about things that you just don't want to look at. But when Neptune goes retrograde, it actually does the opposite effects of that. And so I do like it for that, but I still just don't trust Neptune either way. But I do think that there's some possibilities for something major to become super, super clear to you at this time. And it's going to give you an opportunity to accept what that clarity is. And Saturn says, now, take accountability for that. Be honest about it. Don't run from it. Use this opportunity to actually change and transform a particular area of your life that you've probably been trying to do for quite some time now, right? A lot of these outer planets are eons long, right? Pluto just came out of Capricorn, Uranus was in Taurus, and Saturn and Neptune have been in Pisces. These are very different energies that we're completely overlooking or overhauling or changing or transforming those into whatever those next signs are in bigger and better, more stable, interesting ways. You know, and so that you are doing the same thing with whatever this is for you. And Aries is all about accountability, you know, being a leader, um, being somebody that can be relied on, uh, and respected, you know, in some way, shape, or form. Um, and so, yeah, yeah. So in that case, I like it, but oh, this was a lot. I hope y'all found this helpful and you take it seriously. And I really love to hear how some of this stuff is going for folks, but we'll see. As usual, family, I love and appreciate you. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.